What would you attempt to do if you knew that you could not fail, beloved? What would you attempt to do if you knew that you could not fail? What would you attempt to do if you knew that you had the certainty of definite, clear success? And this is a very important question that you have to ponder for your own soul and for your relationship with God. Because often the obstacles of us achieving what we desire, receiving what we desire, many of those obstacles exist only and solely in our minds, our fears, our timidities, our trepidations. Let me ask you a different question based upon the same principle. What would you ask God for if you knew that He was going to give it to you? And this is the principle that Christ is expressing to us in Matthew chapter 7, verse 7 onwards to 11. And Christ says, "Ask, and it shall be given you." Now that is certain, that is sure, that is definite. That when you ask God, He shall do it. It will happen. No obstacle will come in your way, in His way, to prevent it from happening to you. So on His part, He has given you a definite, certain, sure, assertive promise that you will receive the very thing that you ask Him for. Ask, and it shall be given you. What would you ask God for if you knew that when He asks, He will give it to you? And this is the definiteness that you must come to God with. This is the certainty that you must come to God with in prayer. This is the expectation that you must have, that when you go to God in prayer, you know that what you ask, He will give. And this is why 1 John 5:14-15 says, "And this is the confidence that we have in Him, that if we ask anything according to His will, He heareth us. And if we know that He hear us, whatsoever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we desired of Him." And so we can have confidence in going to God today, beloved, knowing that what we ask, as long as it is according to His will, He will hear us. And this is what Matthew chapter 7, verse 7 to 11 says, "Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth." So when you ask, you know you have a certainty from God. You have a promise from God that you will receive. "And he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened." It will happen. So God is saying, when you ask me, it will happen. So do not come to God expecting otherwise than what you ask. It will happen. And if it is against His will, and if it is not for your highest good, something better will happen. But when you know that you come to God in certainty, in truth, in faith, you know that something is going to happen. And this is where it continues in verse 9. "Or what man is there of you, whom if his son asks bread, will he give him a stone? Or if he asks a fish, will he give him a serpent? If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more, beloved, shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask Him?" So God is committed to giving you good things when you ask Him for them. How much more? But the fact of the matter remains, our issue is that we do not really ask God. We come to God lacking confidence and expectation of the fulfillment of our requests. We come to God uncertain. We come to God with ambiguous, vague longings and desires, and we are not really asking Him. And sometimes it can take us years, months, weeks to be able to frame our request to God in such a definite, clear, certain way that He can actually give us what we want. We are not printing our requests on the fabric of prayer clearly, that God may be able to read it and give it to us, beloved. So we have to be clear, we have to be definite, we have to be certain in our request when we go to God, that He may be able to give it to us, beloved. So we are the problem, that we do not receive our requests because we have too much vague and improperly expressed uncertain longings and desires. So we have to clarify our vision. We have to filter our requests. We have to be certain and specific in what we want, so that God will be able to grant us the desires of our heart and the things that are according to His will. Why we do not have it is because we are uncertain, we are unclear, we are too vague, and we are not specific enough. And this is why God simply says, ask. And when we ask, our request must be sculpted in mind and in prayer in a clear, detailed, certain, and definite way, that God will be able to grant us the very thing in the very way that we have asked Him, in order to express His love to us and to show us how He loves us by paying attention to the details of our request and to the details of our lives, beloved. Because we must understand that sometimes some of our requests are like sketches. They are not well thought out, they are not well defined, and they need work because of inherent disorder and conflict in the inner thoughts that we possess, because we are not yet quite settled on what we want exactly, and certain elements in our requests, they are subject to change. Therefore, beloved, if you are uncertain, you are double-minded, and if you are double-minded, you shall not receive anything of the Lord, according to the book of James. So first, settle within yourselves the details surrounding what you really want. Clarify your image before you express it to God, and then offer up a detailed, engraved petition to God in prayer for the very thing you desire, something that you are certain and sure of, that you approach God with a definiteness, a confidence, and a real expectation that you will receive it, because you cannot receive what you didn't ask for, and if it is not clear and definite in its expression. And this is what God means when He says, ask and it shall be given unto you. He is definite to you with His promise of giving it to you if you ask. You must be definite in your petition and in your expectation and in your clarity with what you want. This is the Word of Life with Andre Knight.